So the show is called Last Summer. And I meant the show, well, I titled it the show Last Summer for two reasons. First of all, most of the work was done in a 4-month period that I've just taken off. So I had 4 months that I kind of went through a process of reclaiming my art practice from a period when I was a little bit fallow. And it started off with a lot of bad paintings. And it ended up with, I think, a number of very good paintings that especially came into the fold sort of in mid-August through to the end of the show. And so part of it was just that reference. But the other part was kind of twofold again, and that was that it's looking back at a subject matter that has almost come full circle for me. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the subject area that I am dealing with right now, I dealt with at the very beginning of my career, but in a much different way. And so some of the things that I've been focusing in on here, I feel like I'm mining again at a much deeper level than I did at the beginning of my career. Okay, and the second point that I wanted to make about the title, again, is that it's also about a feeling of the last summer. That kind of melancholy that can happen, especially at the end of summer and moving into fall. So a lot of these works, they're about, the silent and empty landscape. This landscape is disappearing because of a lot of development that's happening between Saskatoon and Aberdeen. But it's also, it's changing, it's going into its new form. It's now been farmland for 50 years and things are beginning to evolve into something else. And there's a certain basic structure to the land and the way that people live in the land that's being lost. The simple, relationship between farm fields and town, that's being changed. And there's something very beautiful about utilitarian land, or what some people call non-landscape. The fact that it's just there and that no one has ever thought of it in terms of its aesthetics. And I find that part really intriguing. I like to find things that are beautiful that other people might bypass on the road without considering. Yeah, so I mentioned that this area is an area that I've painted before, and it's actually on the edge of the Mini-Cheese Hills. Saskatoon and Aberdeen are on, the lake bed between two big hill systems, and on the one side, to the east side, you have the Mini-Cheese Hills. So Lauren Russell and I have painted that area for years together, and we've gone on little painting trips, and there's a lot of exploring that's gone on at that time, and, picnics, that kind of thing, which of course relate back to her childhood experiences with her father and Robert Hurley. So I feel like there's kind of a historical continuum that goes on there of experience. And that's important because I think that if there's a difference between the kind of work that I'm interested in and some other landscape painters, especially emerging landscape painters, the difference is that they grab at the painterly affectations of painting, but they are afraid to look at the subject. And in being afraid to look at the subject, they miss all of the nuance that makes a place unique and special. So, for instance, in writing, they talk about a subject being bred in the bone. For instance, in Guy Van Ryck's work, there's something bred in the bone of his work that makes it part of the place that he lives. And so I feel that that's something that I have to be truthful to. The subject and what it is telling me has to take precedence even over the way the paint is applied. So quite often, I start painting, I hope this doesn't sound smug, but I start painting by mixing up 9 or 10 colors that are as close to what I can see as possible. So that every time I'm looking at a gold field, that is a different gold field than the one that I painted before. And the same thing with the sky. The sky color, I go after that blue time and time again, and I never get it. But you know, you have to try to get closer and closer to the source of the thing that moves you. So that's what